UK crowd loses control after 9-year-old's voice, judge hits golden buzzer instantly. From the moment she stepped into the bright wash of stage lights, little Aria Wells looked as though she might float away. Her shoes were a half size too big, borrowed from her cousin, her dress was stitched by her mother the night before, and her tiny hands trembled, not from fear, but from the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, this would be the day life finally changed for her family. Aria had spent her 9 years in a quiet British seaside town where the cliffs were beautiful, but life wasn't always easy. Her father worked double shifts at the docks, and her mother cleaned homes, saving every coin for Aria's singing lessons they often couldn't afford. But Aria had a voice that felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds, and her parents believed in it with a fierceness that defied their circumstances. Still, no one expected her to audition for the biggest talent show in the UK. Not until the day Aria overheard her parents whispering in the kitchen about another overdue bill, their voices tired, thin, and apologetic. That night, she filled out the online form herself, typing slowly with 2 fingers, wiping tears off her cheeks as she wrote, "I want to help my family. I want to make them smile." Now here she was, center stage, knees wobbling, the audience restless. The judges smiled politely, likely expecting a sweet but forgettable performance from a shy little girl. "Whenever you're ready, love," the host whispered as he stepped aside. Aria closed her eyes. And then something remarkable happened. She didn't think about the cameras or the thousands of eyes watching. She didn't think about the judges or the pressure or the fear of failing. She thought only of her parents, her father's calloused hands, her mother's weary smile, and she began to sing. Her voice rose soft at first, trembling like a candle flame. But as the melody unfurled, it grew warmer, richer, more powerful. It filled every corner of the auditorium like a tide of light. The audience shifted, then stilled. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. People leaned forward, breath held. No one expected a 9-year-old to carry a song like that, so full of ache, so full of hope. It wasn't the voice of a trained professional. It was the voice of a child who had seen struggle yet somehow believed fiercely in tomorrow. Halfway through the song, something extraordinary rippled through the room. A man in the 5th row, who had been quietly crying since the first verse, reached for the hand of his daughter beside him. A stagehand paused mid-step, forgetting entirely what he had been heading to fix. Even the toughest judge, known for icy feedback, sat frozen, lips parted, heart ambushed by emotion he couldn't hide. Then came the moment that changed everything. As Aria held a long, aching note near the end, her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from overwhelming feeling. It cracked the way a heart cracks when it is too full. And instead of faltering, she leaned into it, letting the vulnerability shine through. The audience felt it like a physical touch. A collective shudder passed through the crowd. People stood. Someone called out, "Go on, sweetheart." Another shouted, "You're amazing." And then, before her final note had fully faded, the strictest judge slammed his palm down on the golden buzzer. A burst of gold confetti rained from the rafters in a shimmering cascade. Aria gasped, dropping her microphone as the audience erupted, cheering, crying, laughing, clapping. The lights turned warm and golden, bathing her in celestial glow. Aria's hands flew to her mouth. She looked out into the sea of faces, and for a moment she didn't see the crowd. She saw her parents, standing together in shocked joy backstage, tears streaking down their cheeks, holding each other with a relief so deep it nearly buckled their knees. The judge who hit the buzzer approached her, kneeling so their eyes met. "Aria," he said, voice shaking, "your song, it reminded me of why I fell in love with music in the first place. You gave us something real. Something the world desperately needs right now." But it wasn't his words that broke Aria. It was the way the audience began chanting her name, not with wild excitement, but with warmth. With kindness. With the utter sincerity of strangers united by one small girl's courage. As Aria's mother rushed onto the stage and swept her into her arms, a truth settled into the air, one that everyone in that auditorium felt: sometimes the smallest voice carries the biggest heart. Sometimes hope shows up wearing 2 big shoes and a handmade dress. Sometimes, a child reminds an entire room of adults what compassion sounds like. And in that golden, confetti-filled moment, Aria's wish came true. Not because she won, not because she stunned the judges, but because she made people feel again, deeply, generously, beautifully. Her story would be shared around the world, touching millions. But the message remained simple. Greatness isn't measured by age or circumstance. It's measured by the courage to show your heart, and the kindness of those who choose to listen.